Have you ever cleaned all day, only to look around at night and feel like nothing changed? I used to be stuck in that same exhausting loop, picking up, wiping down, putting things away. And by dinner time, it felt like the mess had exploded all over again. That's why today I want to share 25 things you can let go of right now without guilt, without second guessing. These aren't Pinterest perfect tips. They're the real things I've decluttered in my own busy home. And every time I let go of one, I felt a little more breathing room both in my space and in my mind. If you've ever felt like your house owns you instead of the other way around, this video is for you. And if you've ever cleaned for hours and still felt behind, just type, "I get it" in the comments, because you are not the only one. There's this quiet frustration that happens every morning. You stand in front of a closet full of clothes and somehow you feel like you have nothing to wear. One small shift that changed this for me was letting go of anything I hadn't worn in the past year. If it stayed on the hanger through all 4 seasons, it was telling me something. Either it doesn't fit, it doesn't feel good, or it simply doesn't match who I am today. I remember pulling out a dress I'd kept for years just in case I lost weight. Every time I saw it, it whispered, "You're not there yet." That's not motivation, that's clutter. The day I donated it, my closet felt lighter, but more importantly, so did I. Now, when I open my closet, I only see clothes I actually wear. Getting dressed feels quicker, calmer, and I don't waste time second-guessing myself. If this one shift already makes sense to you, you'll love my next video. It's all about the number 1 reason your house still feels cluttered even after you declutter. That one small insight can change everything. And if you don't want to miss it, you can subscribe right now. It's the easiest way to keep these little reminders coming your way. We've all done it. Kept a pair of shoes because they were expensive or because we wore them once to a special event. But every time we try them again, they pinch, rub, or leave us limping. The truth is, shoes that hurt you are not a bargain. They're a burden. If you can't walk comfortably in them, they don't deserve space in your closet or in your day. I used to hang onto a pair of heels I wore to a friend's wedding. They looked gorgeous, but every time I slipped them on, I barely lasted an hour before I had to take them off. They weren't shoes anymore, they were just guilt sitting on a shelf. Letting them go felt like admitting I deserve comfort in my everyday life, not pain for the sake of maybe someday. Now the only shoes I keep are the ones I can actually walk into the store to school pickup or even across the living room without wanting to kick them off. And that small edit makes every step of my day easier. And it doesn't stop with shoes. The same goes for another sneaky category: calendars, planners, and papers that quietly pile up year after year. There's a strange comfort in keeping old planners, notebooks, or calendars, as if they're proof we lived those busy days. But in reality, they usually sit in a pile collecting dust, reminding us of deadlines that don't matter anymore. I used to keep every calendar from past years, thinking I might need to look back one day. The truth, I never did. The only time I touched them was when I had to shuffle them around to make space for something else. One day I flipped through last year's calendar and realized all the important things were already in my phone or in my memory. The rest? Just clutter. I copied down the few notes worth saving and recycled the whole stack. Suddenly, that corner of my desk felt open again, and I could actually sit down without the weight of unfinished business staring at me. Clearing away old papers doesn't just free up space. It sends a quiet message to yourself. You don't have to carry last year into this year. And if you're holding on to old decor you didn't even use this season, that's another weight you don't need to carry forward. Let's talk about that next. Every year when the holidays roll around, we open the storage bins and pull out the favorites, the things that make our home feel warm and festive. But there are always a few pieces that stay at the bottom of the box. We see them, we pause, and then we think maybe next year. If you didn't use it this year, chances are you won't use it next year either. Keeping it only means you'll go through the same moment of hesitation again and again. I had a whole box of ornaments I never hung up. Some were broken, some didn't match our style anymore, and a few I was keeping only because they had been gifts. But year after year, they stayed untouched. When I finally donated them, I realized I wasn't just clearing space in a storage bin, I was clearing away that quiet guilt that came with seeing them every December. Now decorating takes half the time, and when the holidays come, I'm surrounded only by the pieces I love. No extra decisions, no hidden box of guilt at the bottom of the bin. And that same guilt shows up in another tricky place: unfinished projects. Let's look at how those weigh us down. There's a special kind of clutter that doesn't sit in a drawer, it sits in the back of your mind. Those half-finished projects you swore you'd get back to someday. The half-knit scarf, the DIY shelf still in pieces, the scrapbook with 2 pages done and 20 left. Every time you see them, they don't spark joy, they spark guilt. They whisper you should finish me, even though deep down you already know you won't. I used to keep a pile of fabric for a quilt I wanted to make. For years, it sat there taking up space, making me feel bad every time I passed it. The truth, I don't even enjoy sewing. Donating that fabric was like exhaling after holding my breath for too long. Someone else could use it, and I could finally let go of the pressure I had put on myself. Unfinished projects aren't reminders of who we are. They're reminders of who we thought we should be. Releasing them makes space for hobbies and activities that actually fit your life today. And speaking of things piling up quietly, there's another spot in almost every home that hides more than we realize: paperwork. Let's go there next. Paper is sneaky. It doesn't shout for attention the way a messy countertop does. It piles up quietly: bills, already paid school notices, long expired receipts you'll never need. And before you know it, one small stack has turned into a drawer, then a whole cabinet. I used to hold on to every single receipt just in case. But the only thing that happened was this: when I actually needed an important paper, I had to dig through a mountain of useless ones first. It wasn't safety, it was stress. One weekend, I gave myself a simple rule: if it wasn't legally important, financially current, or emotionally meaningful, it didn't stay. I shredded most of it, recycled the rest, and suddenly my file drawer opened and closed without a fight. The relief of not having paper avalanche out at me worth every minute. Paper clutter is heavy in its own quiet way. Clearing it out makes your home feel calmer, and it also makes you feel more capable, like you know exactly where to find what matters. And paper isn't the only small thing that piles up without us noticing. Toiletries and little beauty products can do the exact same thing. Let's talk about those next. Bathrooms are often the tiniest rooms in the house, yet somehow they hold the most random clutter. Little hotel shampoos, sample-sized lotions, half-used bottles you tried once and didn't like. They all pile up under the sink, taking over valuable space. I used to keep a drawer full of just-in-case products. But the truth, I never went back to them. The perfume that gave me headaches, the moisturizer that felt sticky, the travel-size soaps I swore I'd use for guests. All they did was get shoved around every time I reached for the 1 or 2 products I actually loved. The day I tossed those extras, my bathroom routine became so much calmer. Now when I open the cabinet, I see exactly what I need, no digging, no second guessing. It saves me time in the morning and makes the space feel cleaner without even scrubbing. And the same thing happens with makeup. When products get old, they don't just stop working, they can actually be bad for your skin. So let's go there next. We all have that one box or drawer, a tangled mess of cords, chargers, and cables for devices we don't even own anymore. Phone chargers from 3 upgrades ago, mystery cords you can't remember the purpose of, and enough USB cables to wire the whole neighborhood. I used to keep every single one thinking, what if I need it someday? But the truth was, every time I opened that drawer, I felt overwhelmed. I dug through piles of just-in-case cords just to find the one I actually used every day. One weekend, I laid them all out on the floor. If I didn't know what it belonged to, or if the device was long gone, it went in the donate or recycle pile. The drawer that once made me sigh now holds only 2 chargers I use daily, neatly coiled and easy to grab. Letting go of those mystery cords didn't just clear a drawer, it cleared the mental noise of having a tech graveyard in my house. And just like cords, there's another household item we often keep: far too long rugs that are worn out and past their prime. Let's talk about those next. Rugs are supposed to make a space feel cozy, but when they're frayed, stained, or worn thin, they do the exact opposite. Instead of adding comfort, they make a room look tired and messy no matter how clean the rest of it is. I had a kitchen rug that had been through everything Spill's pets, kids, years of foot traffic. I kept telling myself maybe I can move it to the garage or use it for camping. But really, I was just postponing the obvious. It had already given all it could. The day I rolled it up and let it go, the whole space felt fresher instantly. Replacing it with a smaller, simpler mat that I actually liked made the kitchen feel lighter, and I no longer felt the weight of trying to make do with something past its time. Keeping worn-out rugs doesn't save money or space, it just keeps your home looking more cluttered than it really is. And rugs aren't the only place clutter hides in plain sight. Sometimes it's not about what's on the floor, but what's on your calendar. Let's talk about schedule clutter next. Sometimes the heaviest clutter isn't on your shelves, it's in your head. The mental to-do list that never stops spinning: call the doctor, buy milk. Reply to that email, fix the leaky faucet. It's exhausting to carry all of it around. I used to lie awake at night running through tomorrow's list in my mind, terrified I'd forget something important. My brain felt like an overstuffed drawer that couldn't close. What finally helped was a simple practice: a brain dump. I grab a piece of paper and write down everything crowding my mind, no organizing, no editing, just out. The relief of seeing it on paper instead of carrying it around in my head is instant. Some things get crossed off right away, some get scheduled, and some, I realize, don't even matter anymore. It's not about having a perfect planner. It's about giving your brain the gift of space. When your thoughts are clearer, your home feels lighter too, because you actually have the energy to deal with it. And speaking of small, everyday clutter, there's another category that sneaks into our homes without us realizing: cups and glasses. Let's talk about those next. If you have kids, you know how quickly cups multiply. Birthday parties, school events, sports teams, suddenly you've got 20 mismatched cups stuffed into your cabinets. Add in the random mugs you've collected over the years, and suddenly opening the cupboard feels like playing Jenga. I used to keep every single one, thinking they might come in handy. But what actually happened? The cabinet was so full that every time someone reached for a glass, something else nearly tumbled out. And most of those cups, they never got used. One Saturday, I lined them all up on the counter. We picked our family's favorites, the cups we reached for every day. The rest went into a donation box. Just like that, the cabinet door could close easily, and grabbing a glass stopped being a balancing act. Having fewer cups doesn't make life harder, it makes it simpler. Fewer dishes to put away, fewer items to wash, and more space in your kitchen. And cups aren't the only household items that quietly pile up. The garage is another place where clutter loves to hide. Let's head there next. Books can feel like trophies of good intentions. We buy them with the hope that one day we'll dive in and become the person who reads them. But if they've sat untouched on the shelf for years, they're not inspiring us, they're weighing us down. I used to keep an entire stack of someday books, self-help titles. I never opened novels that didn't match my taste, even a few cookbooks I bought because they looked pretty on someone else's shelf. Every time I passed them, I felt a little stab of guilt. I should read that. But the truth was, I didn't want to. One afternoon, I gave myself permission to be honest. If I hadn't read it yet and didn't feel excited to start now, it went in the donation box. Letting go of those books didn't make me less smart or less cultured. It made room for the ones I actually loved to pick up again and again. Your bookshelf should reflect who you are, not who you think you should be. And that same lesson applies to another tricky category: gifts you'll never use. Let's talk about those next. Gifts can be some of the hardest clutter to let go of. We hold on to them out of guilt, worried that getting rid of them somehow means we don't appreciate the person who gave them. But the truth is, keeping something you don't use doesn't honor the gift, it only clutters your home. I once held onto a set of decorative bowls I got as a wedding gift. They weren't my style and I never used them, but every time I saw them in the cupboard, I felt guilty. It took me years to realize the love was in the giving, not in the object itself. Donating those bowls didn't erase the memory of who gave them to me. It just gave the item a chance to be useful in someone else's home. Letting go of unwanted gifts is about releasing guilt. The person who gave it to you wanted you to feel joy, not pressure. When you donate or re-gift thoughtfully, you're simply passing that joy along. And just like gifts, there's another kind of clutter we hold on to because we feel we should. But this time, it's not an object, it's our own expectations. Let's go there next. Kids grow faster than our homes can keep up. One day the toy is their favorite, the next day it's forgotten under the bed. Clothes that fit last month suddenly don't make it past the knees. Yet somehow we keep it all just in case, or because we feel attached to the memories. I remember opening my daughter's closet and realizing half the clothes no longer fit her. Every morning we wasted time sorting through outfits that weren't even an option. The same with toys shelves filled with dolls and puzzles she hadn't touched in years. Instead of feeling cozy, her room felt crowded. One weekend we went through it together. She picked her favorite toys, the ones she truly still loved. Everything else went into a donation box. Watching her room open up was eye-opening. She had more space to play, and I had less to clean. Letting go of outgrown items doesn't erase the memories. It simply makes room for who your kids are today and who they're becoming. And just like toys and clothes, another category often lingers past its time: games and puzzles. No one plays anymore. Let's tackle that next. That's it. 25 things you can let go of to make life at home feel lighter. You don't have to do them all. Even choosing one small step is enough to shift the way your space feels. If just one idea from this list helps you breathe easier, then that's already a win. And if you're ready to take it further, I've made another video that goes deeper into the real reason clutter keeps coming back. It's called The #1 Reason Your House is Still Cluttered and How to Stop It. You can watch it right here next, and I think it'll make the biggest difference of all. If this video felt helpful, tap like so I know what truly supports you. And you're always welcome to subscribe so we can keep making space for calm together.